Hi, and welcome to Old School Blues Guitar. It is time for the song breakdown lesson for July through September 2018. This time around, we're going to take a look at the song Little by Little by Junior Wells, and it features some really cool guitar stuff. This is by request from one of my subscribers. Let's start out with the introduction. And the intro, the song itself is played in F sharp. So a lot of what we're going to be doing is going to be based on licks in the first position F sharp blues box. Now, to start the song, there's a guitar part going on way up the neck between the 14th and the 16th frets. And what we're basically doing is playing this lick over the first position F sharp blues box, just up the neck. And the song starts out with the guitar playing something like this. It's hard to hear on the recording. The version I have is pretty scratchy, and Junior Wells is, and the backup singers are going. But anyway, it sounds to me like he's starting on the 15th fret of the 4th string, and he's just playing this 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he's going to a double stop on the 14th fret, 1st and 2nd string, and playing that typical double stop blues lick, going to the 15th fret of the 2nd and 3rd strings, and the hammer on between the 14th fret of the 2nd and 3rd strings, bringing my second finger down on the 15th fret of the 3rd string while also getting the 2nd string. It's a double stop. So we've got that's what I hear at the beginning. So that's the introduction. One more time. Whoops, one more time. Something very close to that. Now the rest of the song, throughout the song, after that introduction, you got this guitar line being played on the bass strings, and it goes something like this. Something like that. It's kind of hard to hear, and I can't tell if he's doing this, staying on the 4th fret of the 4th string twice, or if he's going back to the 2nd fret like this. You could do it either way, and it would sound pretty close to what's going on. So what I'm doing here is playing over the first position bar chord, the F sharp bar chord, and I'm starting on the 2nd fret of the 6th string. Now I'm doing a hammer on between the 2nd and the 4th on the 5th string. And then I'm going to go to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, 4th fret, 2nd fret, or however you want to play it, stay on the 4th fret. So like this. Then he's going to move it over. When he goes over the 4, which is a B, he's going to go. And then for the 5, he's going to go over the D flat. But he plays something a little different here. And I can't hear exactly what it is, but it sounds to me like something like this. Little goes back to the first position blues box and does this quick little lick on the 2nd and 3rd strings. I've got my first finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, and then I'm bending up on the 4th fret of the 3rd string with my ring finger. So he does this. I think this is the timing for it. Something like that. You listen to the recording and see what you think. But that lick and the timing takes him back to the 4 or the B. And so that bass line is played throughout the whole song. Let me try to play it all the way through one time for you, keeping the time and playing it like it is in the song. something like that. There's a beat, he hesitates when he plays the one, that's on the one, but then he sits out. It's like one, one, two, one, two, one. Whoops, it's hard to count and do that at the same time. You got it. One, two, one, two. That's the rhythm to it. So listen to the original recording and see what I'm talking about there. So that is something that's constant throughout the whole tune. And the only thing I'm really kind of unsure about is exactly what he's doing here as he goes from the 5 to the 4 to the 1. Now the turnaround to the song, all you can really hear is the chord that's played. And normally in a progression out of F sharp, you would play, maybe a D flat 7th, or maybe a D flat 9. But instead, he's going to play an augmented chord. Really kind of different. So this chord right here, got my first finger on the 2nd fret, getting the 2nd and 3rd strings. My 2nd finger's on the 3rd fret of the 4th string. And my ring finger is on the D flat, which is the 4th fret of the 5th string. And he's just playing it fast. Something like that. So that is the basic rhythm part for the song Little by Little. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the lead parts, the fill parts, and then actually the solo as well. All right, welcome back to my lesson on Junior Wells's tune Little by Little. We're dissecting the guitar parts that you hear in this great song. In the first lesson, we looked at the basic bass line that's played throughout the tune and the turnaround, and then we also looked at the introduction. So now we're going to start looking at the fills that are played and also the solo. So the fills are almost entirely played out of the first position F sharp blues box. And one type of fill that he plays several times throughout the song is like a double stop. So he does something like this. And all I'm doing is sliding into a F sharp double stop, which has my 2nd finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string and my ring finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. And I'm sliding into it from one step below. Like that, or I can slide. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then to go back to the first position blues box, he's sliding from the 6th fret of the 3rd string to the 4th to the 2nd, winding up on the 4th fret of the 4th string. So we got this. That basic lick. Now you'll hear that. He uses it as a fill, and then he follows it up with a single string run. And I've tabbed out a couple of these for you, but they're all played in that first position blues box. So the first verse, he does something like this. Something like that. And then throughout the tune, he plays these fills. All right there in the first position blues box. So one little lick that he does a couple times is where he's bending the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Something like that. He also does this where he goes to the 4th and then the 2nd fret. But he does this out of this double stop slide, which is kind of cool, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly how he's doing this. So it's something like, so he's going from that slide and then back to the 2nd fret of the 1st string. Not sure. I experimented going to the 7th fret of the 2nd string. That doesn't seem to work. I think the easiest way to do it is just going from that double stop right to the 2nd fret of the 1st string. You listen to the song and see what you think. So throughout the tune, he plays these little fills, and he's either doing these double stops, followed up by the single string runs, and he's doing that throughout the whole song. There's no either. I said either, but that's what he does. And so that's really the fills in the song. Now, when he gets to the solo, he plays something a little different. Now the solo is almost entirely in the first position blues box too, but he starts out with this really cool electric blues type lick, and it goes something like this. Really neat. This is in the second position blues box, so if we're playing an F sharp, our second position blues box is going to be between the 5th and the 7th frets on the 1st and 2nd strings. So he's going to slide in, it's kind of like a Magic Sam lick. Heard that if you listen to any Magic Sam stuff, that's something he liked to do. So he starts out with that. And then a quick lick from the 7th fret of the 2nd string to the 5th fret of the 1st string. And then right into these bends on the 7th fret of the 1st string. I call these 3-finger bends when you use 3 fingers. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he's going to do this, which is really neat. And what I'm doing there is keeping my 3 fingers on the 1st string between the 5th and the 7th frets, and really holding down the 6th fret of the 2nd string, and then I'm bouncing back and forth between the 7th and the 6th fret on the 1st string. So we've got this. And then he's going to go, whoops, to the 7th fret of the 2nd string, to the 6th fret of the 3rd string. So let's play that whole, this is the first lick of the solo. Missed it, let me try it again. Right there. Really cool. So it's, and then he's going to go back into the first position blues box. And he just plays around in that and eventually comes back to a something like that. So that first lick is really the one I think is the coolest in the solo. The rest of it you could improvise and play around. There's one more he plays right at the end, which I'll show you. So as far as showing you the solo licks note for note, that one for sure. One more time. Really neat, winding up on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. And there's one more really cool lick that he plays at the end of the solo, which goes something like this. Kind of neat. What I'm doing is just a typical first blues box electric blues lick, where I'm bending the 4th fret of the 3rd string, getting the 2nd fret of the 2nd string and the 1st string, and then going 5-2 on the 2nd string. And then I'm going 4-2 on the 1st string. And getting 2nd fret of the 2nd string. Then he's going to do this, kind of go to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and a hammer on, pull off, and then walk into the 5, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 4th string, to the 4th fret of the 5th string, and then the augmented chord. Something like that. Let me play it again for you. Kind of neat, and that's just an example. I've tabbed out the solo note for note the best I could, so you can look at that and listen to it. But as far as how he plays this, pretty straightforward. Everything is right in the first position blues box. That opening lick that he uses to kick off the solo, which is one of my favorites, that's played in the second position blues box. Now before we leave this song, there's one more part that I didn't show you. I'm trying to break the whole song down. I'm going to go back, and he sings a couple verses at the beginning, and then there's this kind of stop time. It's not really a stop time. The song keeps moving, but the guitar is playing something like this. Can't remember how he wraps it up, but to me, I hear an F sharp 7th, which is Just your typical first position bar chord, take the pinky out. It sounds like he's getting the bottom 4 strings. And then when the song goes to the 4, he's going to play a B9. And I hear that when I listen to the original recording. And then when he goes to the 5, he's going to play a D flat 9. And then right here you've got some kind of little guitar riff leading into that 5 chord. So anyway, little by little, that's the Junior Wells tune, and you've got 2 guitars. You got one guy laying down the bass and probably playing that chord part there. Then you've got a second guitar playing the lead lines and the fill lines in between. And then there's an ensemble part, which I just went over, where they're all playing together. And that's pretty much the tune. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything else. And I'm sure there's some little variations in there that I missed. And I'm looking for a better quality version of this recording to see if I can hear anything that I didn't hear before. So if you want to play the tune little by little, there you go. That's the basics of it. Maybe not exactly right, but pretty darn close, I'm sure. And it's a tune where you can take what was played on the record, or you can take the ideas and turn it into your own original version of the song. Hope you got something out of this lesson. I will be back again in October or so with another song breakdown, and I'll also have my brand new website up and running to help you access my videos and make it a lot easier for you to make requests and ask me questions and things like that. Take care. I'll see you soon.